welcome now Caleb Sailors, Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News.
What's going on, Gerard?
What's up there, Caleb?
Oh, not much. Just, keep working.
Man, you guys have been covering some stuff, haven't you?
Oh, always. We never stop, Gerard. With our news team, we're constantly trying to cover the Magnolia State best we can, corner to corner. So, and look, we're always we get people that email us and, tips on stories or things going on. If we're missing your part of the state, email us, news@supertalk.fm, and, we're always available. So, yeah, we've been working, Gerard, a lot of pretty big stories happening this week. One, a tragic story out of Simpson County with the Highway 149 bridge collapsing. Well, the bridge was in the process of being demolished. T.L. Wallace is the company out of Columbia, is the company doing the project. So they're trying to demolish the bridge to rebuild it. And, well, we had an accident, what officials are calling a worksite accident, with 3 people left dead, and we have them identified: Charles Badger, Kevin Malone, and Charles Eagleheart. And then 4 were injured. 3 are still critically injured and hospitalized. And so, obviously, our thoughts and prayers with that situation. Right now, their officials are still investigating. I know the Federal Highway Administration is investigating. Secretary Pete Buttigieg has issued a statement, acknowledging that he's been briefed on the matter and that his thoughts are with the people who have been impacted. And Mississippi Department of Transportation and all these officials, Simpson County Sheriff's Department, are all looking into what happened, how it happened. Right now, they deemed it an accident. We don't really think that there was, I don't know if it was preventable or not, just one of those freak things that happened, but definitely our thoughts and prayers in that situation. It's really, really sad when something of this magnitude happens.
Yeah, it's it just came out of nowhere.
Right. No, nobody was expecting that at all. And it really, we really should give more gratitude and appreciation. We always talk about how we should appreciate our first responders more, and we should. But we really need to appreciate those and show our respect and gratitude for those who are working on these projects, these building, these infrastructure projects. These are dangerous jobs, Gerard.
Extremely.
Within a moment's notice, 3 lives lost, and 3 of them in critical condition right now. You never know when this stuff is going to happen. So
is there any evidence that there were some shortfalls in inspection? How does that work? What's the process?
We really don't know. Right now, all of this is under investigation. Okay. And when we find out more, we'll let you know. We'll keep you updated on supertalk.fm. But right now, it's just being deemed an accident.
Gotcha.
It's a freak accident. We don't know if there were any failures or flaws, anything that could have been done differently to prevent this from happening. So that's all we know. But obviously, I'm keeping the families of those lost in my thoughts, and it's just tragic. These people are just trying to rebuild a bridge and make our commutes more convenient and easier, and then it turns tragic and fatal.
Yeah.
And Gerard, another pretty interesting story is House Speaker Jason White issued a poll or a survey that was conducted by a national firm, Signal. And it really shows what's on Mississippi voters' minds as they head into the election. I'm currently working on a story on this. It's not up yet on supertalk.fm, but it will be at some point today. But giving you all a little sneak preview, we see that the economy is front, top, center on voters' minds. And 20 of 500 people that were surveyed, 24.3%, which was the highest, said inflation, the economy, cost of living all merged into one, was the highest priority. So going into November, we know how Mississippi is going to vote, barring just a cataclysmic, unforeseen circumstance. You can assume that former President Donald Trump is going to win the state of Mississippi, and we have a contested Senate race, but all signs are pointing to the incumbent Roger Wicker holding his seat. But we really see, though, what Mississippians are wanting past the election, right? When we go to the legislative session, and House Speaker Jason White has said that he's going to use this data, not partisan political talking points, which was kind of interesting. Kind of my antenna went up when I saw that in his release, to determine policies or how the House, specifically the House, is going to move forward in 2025. And number 2 on the concerns of the voters, of likely voters, was tax policies. And we know taxes is going to be a huge topic when we get to January because, we've had kind of conflicting sides from the governor, the lieutenant governor, with obviously Governor Reeves wanting to speed run the elimination of the income tax. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann saying, whoa, let's focus on the sales tax on groceries first. And House Speaker Jason White saying, why don't we try to reduce both of them, but also make sure our budget's intact, too?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see, voters want taxes cut. Obviously, who wants to pay more taxes? Who wants to voluntarily give their money up, to the government? But the state has to also consider, well, are we really willing to slash a third of our revenue? Are we really willing to, take this big of a dip in, the money going into our coffers? And so we'll see how the legislature responds to that. And one thing that really stood out to me, though, Gerard, was how low on the list illegal immigration was. You have politicians in Mississippi talking about every state's a border state, which is understandable, especially when you think of drug trafficking, human trafficking, gun trafficking. You think of all these activities that take place across our country that stem from people crossing over illegally through the southern border with nefarious intentions. It was weird to see, though, that only 1.2% of voters of the ones surveyed had illegal immigration as one of their top policies. It really shows you that they're not focused on this as much. I mean, of course, people aren't wanting, to subsidize people undocumented living in our country, but that's not their top concern. Their top concern is, I got to be able to pay for my bills. Yeah. I got to be able to afford groceries. I got to be able to afford rent or my mortgage payment or my kids' child care. And you see right after tax policy, number 3 is health care. And, Mississippi is still looking to remedy a health care crisis that we've had. And I know the governor has had some proposals that move forward with CMS to draw back some more money for Medicaid. It wasn't really Medicaid expansion. I guess some have called it Medicaid expansion light, but he's gotten more money for the hospitals, and some have seemed to be afloat. I know Greenwood LaFleur Hospital has managed to stay alive, after the money they've gotten from the governor's plan. But we see still people in Mississippi are wanting better access to health care or easier access to health care, and these, concerns to be remedied. And I'm really eager with this. Now we have hard data that shows what voters want. And we'll see if our legislators, our elected officials, really serve the best interests of the people of Mississippi.
Yeah. Well, the program that the governor requested or had the Division of Medicaid request from the federal government, from CMS, really just increased the payments and the payment structure in the current base Medicaid program that's currently in place in the state of Mississippi.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've got a new Mississippi Medicaid director now.
We do.
Drew Snyder has stepped down. He's got a new heir apparent. I don't have the name in front of me right this second, but we'll see how that relationship works, too. I know Drew's getting out and getting back into the private sector. More power to him. I don't blame him there. I understand working in Medicaid in Mississippi is probably not an easy
job, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, that's a tough job.
And I've heard Drew talk on this program and before. He's much brighter than I will ever be. And
he's done a great job.
And he's done a lot for the state of Mississippi, so more power to him. But we'll see how the transition of power goes there, and if the governor can keep a good relationship with the new director of Mississippi Medicaid. But you're right, though, about the hospitals are just getting more payment. They restructured the payment abilities, how that works. But so I'm just, it really is interesting to see what voters are wanting when it comes to, what they want from their legislators, what they want from lawmakers in Mississippi. And we'll see if, the economy is obviously going to be top concern, especially with inflation and cost of living and groceries. I mean, we go to the grocery store, Gerard. I mean, a loaf of bread is 3 times higher than what it was a couple of years ago. Politicians, national politicians can say, inflation is down, everything's better, they're price gouging you, but people really don't care about that when they're having to pay, 5, 6, 7, 8% more at the grocery store than they did years past. And I'm interested to see how our lawmakers respond to this, this poll, this real hard data. Gerard, I know Ben came on yesterday, so I'm not going to get long-winded. If people want to go back, they can go on our YouTube and all of our social media and hear about the FBI investigation into corruption in the capital city. But Sharik Smith, big wig in this one. He pleaded guilty to his role in this investigation, and he was receiving money to facilitate payments or bribes to city officials to steer a contract or steer a vote for a downtown convention hotel project in Jackson. We've already had a former Ward 2 Councilwoman Angelique Lee. She's pleaded guilty on federal bribery charges. And all signs point to there's going to be some big players.
Some more heads are going to roll. I don't think there's any question about that.
Real quick, one cool story, Gerard. I encourage our people to go to supertalk.fm, our lifestyle section. the Children's of Mississippi now has a service dog, and it is as cute as a button.
Seen the pictures, yeah.
67-pound golden retriever named Hollywood, and these kids love this dog.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great story. So I encourage y'all to read that.
That is awesome. That's fantastic. Caleb, thanks for the roundup. Really good stuff.
Yeah, thanks,
you, man.
Gerard.
Folks, we're stepping aside for a break in the Element Wealth studio. We're coming right back. Secretary of State Michael Watson joins middays at 12:05.